YouTube, what is going on? Welcome back to another Identity 5 video. In this one, we have a very exciting one, Season 18 Survivor tier list. Before we get into the video, I would like to say, guys, that 70% of you guys who watch these videos are not currently subscribed. So if you guys are new to the channel or just enjoying the content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. I really do appreciate it. Without further ado, let's get into the video. All right, guys, so the 6 tiers that we're going to have today are the normal 6, D, C, B, A+, and S tier. I will be including the Novelist in this tier list. I haven't had too much time to practice with him, so I don't know exactly where he's going to be, but based off of the little time I have had, I have a pretty good judge of where he's going to be. But the first tier, without further ado, is going to be D tier. And the first character in D tier is Thief. Now, Thief is kind of just very subpar. And I know there's going to be a lot of you guys that are going to be like, oh my god, Thief's actually so good and whatever and whatever. Well, Thief's actually, like, I mean, he's not bad, guys, but in reality, there's just, every character is really just better and more viable. Now, with Thief, you have some fun abilities. You know, you have the 3 flashlights that you can set on the ground, try to blind the hunter that way. They blind the hunter pretty fast if they walk into those ones. A fun strategy you can do with Thief is you can use the, run around the carousel on Moonlight River Park and just, like, flashlight the hunter that way. That's a pretty fun ability. I guess on some of the alleyways in Eversleeping Town is pretty fun, but in the most part, guys, Thief is just really bad. He literally gets hard countered by moonwalking. That's where, like, if you have an ability that lets you drag and drop something, you can just hold the ability in the opposite direction and just look away. Like a violinist can, like, hold their note and then just look behind them and walk towards the thief, and the thief can't do anything. Sculptor can hold their statues. I don't know who else. Breaking Wheel can hold their traps. Dream Witch is like the only one, and like Dream Witch, you're just gonna get trapped in between the leech and the spawn faller anyway. So in reality, Thief is just very subpar. He gets countered easily by hunters who know what they're doing, and because of that, Thief is the worst character in the game and in D tier. The next character in D tier is a Lawyer. I'm gonna try, guys. I know I say this all the time. I'm gonna try to get through this tier list quickly, but it's probably gonna take me like well over an hour, but we'll see. So Lawyer is a good character for starting out. He's very strong for players who are newer to the game. And the reason why is he can act as a decoder, a kiter, and a rescuer. And there's really no consequence. It's just that he's very subpar in all those categories, but he does have all of those categories. So what I mean by that is that, you know, once he finishes a cipher machine, if he still is holding onto his map, he decodes 20% faster. On top of that, kiting-wise, he's pretty good because he can't get terror shocked, and also rescuing-wise, he can't get terror shocked, which is good. So that's good in lower tiers if you're newer to the game, because a lot of people get terror shocked at lower tiers. Oh, well, I mean like lower, like if you're newer, really new to the game. Yeah, so that's the thing. Also, he gets his veterans bonus. So a fun little trick you can do is you can vault a pallet that would normally get you terror shocked, but instead you're a Lawyer, so you don't get terror shocked. Then you get veterans bonus plus pallet bonus plus getting hit bonus. And you get like an insane speed boost. You can just zoom across the map and just like completely lose the hunter. It's so fun. So Lawyer is pretty fun. And you can also use his map to, you know, kind of see around the map, see the hunter, stuff like that. But in reality, he's just not too strong. Even Mind's Eye would be better. So because of that, Lawyer is a D tier survivor. The next tier is C tier, and the first survivor in C tier is Gardener. Now, Gardener is decent against one hunter, guys, and that is Bloody Queen. And even then, there's just better characters to play against Bloody Queen. Gardener does start at the game with a bubble that lasts for, I think it's 50 seconds. And that's pretty nice, but there's a lot of chip hunters in the meta, guys. On top of that, Breaking Wheel will just roll over her and waste the bubble instantly by rolling over her. Sculptor Statue will knock it down. Bomb, whatever it may be. Oh my god, I'm really tired. Gardener just kind of struggles with that. On top of that, in a 4-person VC setting, so in a tournament, if you have 4-person voice communication, there's going to be a lot of rotation. So there's going to be a lot of you guys, you know, you tell where the hunter spawns, and the survivors are going to, like, rotate early. They're going to leave their cipher machines and hide or whatever. By the time the hunter actually finds someone, it's already been 50 seconds into the match, and the Gardener's bubble is already gone, so it's kind of useless at that point. Of course, the Gardener can, you know, take down chairs, which is just not very useful because that's time. That's time you're wasting not decoding, which means your cipher rush is not as optimal as it could be. And on top of that, she also has the ability where if she stands still for a few seconds, she can get a bubble. which is not very good also because, again, ship hunters just destroy that. So in reality, Gardener's just very weak. There's a lot better characters, and that makes her a C tier character. The next character in C tier is Mind's Eye. Now I know, again, some of you guys love Mind's Eye, but guys, Mind's Eye is really bad. Mind's Eye is really, really bad. Okay, I'm just going to say that right now. I'm so sorry. Mind's Eye is a very fun character. I love Mind's Eye, but she's just not viable in tournaments at all. And honestly, not in rank either. And the reason why is she gets countered by simply the Hunter bringing teleporting quenching effect. For those of you who don't know what that is, 50 seconds into the match, the Hunter can see every survivor on the map if they haven't like hit anyone or gained any presence. And then they just can teleport on them. So they can see where the Mind's Eye is, which cipher they're on, and just teleport on them. And Mind's Eye is just a really weak kiter because she vaults things so slow, throws pallets so slow. And you guys might say, well, Mechanic does the same thing. Yeah, but guys, if Mechanic dies, her bot's still in play. And her bot's going to do an entire cipher machine for free. Whereas if Mind's Eye dies, then Mind's Eye is completely useless because she sits on the rocking chair, does absolutely nothing. So if you're playing on a survivor team and the Mind's Eye gets found first, you're probably going to lose because the Mind's Eye is going to go down very quickly. If the Mind's Eye... Now, here's the upside. If Mind's Eye does not get found first, someone else gets chased, you guys will probably at least get a tie because Mind's Eye decodes super fast. But getting a tie is not very good. So it's just... you obviously want to try to win games. And, of course, again, there's the risk. If Mind's Eye gets found, you're probably losing the match. We'll just be honest. So because of these things, Mind's Eye is just very subpar. She does have the Cane ability, which can reveal the Hunter's location, where they're going for about, I think it's 7 seconds, and also the Hunter has slower interaction speeds when the Cane tap is in effect. However, that's not really that good. It's just sort of, it's just a fun little trick to have, fun little add-on to Mind's Eye's abilities, but in reality, Mind's Eye is just a very weak character overall, and that makes her C tier. The next character in C tier is Lucky Guy. Now, Lucky Guy did get a buff recently where he can hold 2 items, and he can also wish for an item at the start of the match. However, none of Lucky Guy's items are ever guaranteed. So if you start at the match and you have your wish for whatever item, and you wish for a flare gun, you could get a syringe, and that's really bad, because now you're just, you're useless, pretty much. You're a doctor that can heal yourself one time and not even increase speeds. And you have to heal yourself all the way. You can't even do the quarter heal. So, because of that, Lucky Guy is just, Lucky Guy is very subpar. He does have Veteran's bonus, of course. When he does get hit, he gets that increased speed boost for 2 seconds, which is nice to have, but it's not very good. Again, you can search through chests and look for items. But if you're doing that, guys, you're losing decoding time. That's a big thing. That's a big theme you guys are going to notice. Decoding time is so important. Optimal Cypher Rush. And at that point, why would you not just play Coordinator? Coordinator has a guaranteed flare gun to start the match. She has a 10% increased chair persistence, 10% increased vaulting and pallet throwing speed, and her flare gun stun lasts, I think it's 30% longer than Lucky Guy's. So then why would you take a guaranteed flare gun and have plus all those other abilities than have a maybe iffy flare gun and then like no other added abilities? Like, it doesn't make sense. I mean, sure, you can hold 2 items and wish for stuff through chest, but again, you're losing decoding time, which is very crucial for winning matches, and it just becomes not worth it in the long run. So because Lucky Guy is a fun character as well, but because of these things listed beforehand, Lucky Guy is a C tier survivor. Okay, so the next survivor in C tier is Enchantress. Now, Enchantress is similar to how I explained Lucky Guy in that... let's start about it this way, okay. So the biggest issue with Enchantress is she's very fragile at the start of the match. She doesn't have any of her items, her one item, she can't really use at the beginning of the match. So that's kind of a problem, because a big thing in like in a match obviously is like first kite is so important. So if you're going down quickly first kite, then that's not very good, obviously, right? And your argument could be like, well, Enchantress can rebound. Well, sure, Enchantress can rebound, but it's like you don't want to have to go for early rescues if possible, You want the first kiter to stay alive for a long period of time. So if you're forced to go for an early rescue because, she can rebound, then it's like, okay, well, that's just not very good. And the difference between that and like a Coordinator, again, it's not as good, because Coordinator can also rebound. If Coordinator doesn't use her flare gun, if Enchantress saves her stacks and has a 3 stack off the chair, then that's the same thing as Coordinator just saving her flare gun, except Coordinator's flare gun is also, again, 30% longer. I think about 30% longer than a 3-stack. Coordinator's increased chair persistence for 10%, and its quicker vaulting speed. So why would you not use something like Coordinator? Even Novelist would be better, because Novelist can move the Hunter away, whereas Enchantress just stuns and like that's it. And Novelist actually has some excess abilities, like being able to switch with Survivors, which isn't that relevant, but we'll get to that when Novelist comes around. So Enchantress is just very weak, and you could say, oh, she's good against Bonbon. Well, okay, sure, she's kind of good against Bonbon, but good Bonbons will keep their distance and just snipe them with bombs from a distance, which just makes it a little bit harder, but still. She's okay. She's okay against Bonbon. Like what else? That's it, guys. That's literally it. So that's the problem with Enchantress, is she's just like not as good as some of these higher up characters that can just outperform her essentially, and she's just too weak in the early game, and that's what makes her a C tier character. The next character in C tier is Barmaid. Now Barmaid was kind of around B tier for a while because she could counter Dream Witch, but as soon as Psychologist came out, Barmaid just dipped to C tier instantly, because Psychologist is just a way better version of Barmaid, just way better version. And that the Barmaid was, again guys, Barmaid was literally only good against non-ship hunters if there's a Seer, and then Dream Witch, and that's literally it. And not even Bloody Queen, because Bloody Queen can literally just mirror her once and then just blink, and it's like, okay, well that sucks, GG's. You see what I'm saying? I mean, she's decent against Bloody Queen if she doesn't have blink, but Bloody Queen's probably gonna have blink up by the time it comes, by the time she gets chased. So, and even if she doesn't have blink up, because the match just started, then she's gonna have blink up by the next time she wants to go for a hit, which means she's still gonna get killed in 60 seconds no matter what. And Barmaid's already wasted her drink, so it's just not as good as Psychologist, where Psychologist is guaranteed. Psychologist also doesn't need an owl. Now Barmaid can use her speed drink to increase her speed, create some distance, whatever it may be, but that's just not as strong compared to Psychologist being able to get the guaranteed instant heal. So overall, again, Barmaid was strong against Dream Witch, but as soon as Psychologist came out, just a better counter to Dream Witch than Barmaid is. Barmaid just got moved down to C tier, and I mean, yeah, guys, Chip Hunter just destroys her. If she goes for a healing drink, she's just gonna get Chip Hunter. Hit, like, you know, those hunters will be able to kill her pretty easily. Any hunter with blink, honestly, guys, will just be able to counter Barmaid. Any hunter with blink. And Barmaid still counters Dream Witch, but Psychologist just does it better, and also counters other hunters a lot better as well. So that's why Barmaid is a C tier hunter. C tier survivor. Okay, moving on to the next tier, which is B tier. The first survivor in B tier is Doctor. Now, Doctor is just really subpar in that she also struggles against chip hunters, and pretty much any hunter that can break pallets quickly. What a lot of Doctors will do, instead of actually throwing the pallet down and trying to heal, they'll camp the pallet, try to get a pallet stun, and then heal. But guys, smart hunters are not going to get fooled by pallet stuns. Like, maybe that'll work at lower to mid tiers or whatever, but once you get to higher tiers and you start to play against top tier hunters, that's not going to work against them. Like, they can counter that a lot easy. They'll like walk into the pallet and then double back and swing, or they'll just swing at the pallet, or they'll fake it, or they'll use their ability, whatever it may be. Top tier hunters can play around pallet camping. You actually don't see a lot of top tiers ever pallet camp. If you guys ever watch like videos in China of like China players, they almost never pallet camp, because pallet camping is such a weak strategy. A good hunter will predict the pallet camp, and they'll swing at the pallet, and they'll do a juke at the pallet and swing at it, and like pull back and swing at it, and then just bait the survivor and throwing it down and get a free hit. And you as a survivor just gave him a free hit for absolutely no reason, simply because you wanted to try to like get a free pallet stun or whatever. It doesn't make sense. So, and plus, guys, if you have a lot of, okay, this isn't even about Doctor, this is just in general. If you guys have a lot of distance and you get to a strong pallet, just throw the pallet down and keep running and create even more distance. And while you're creating distance, the hunter's breaking the pallet, which means you're getting even farther away. If you're standing there camping the pallet, okay, if you're lucky, you get the pallet stun. But then it's just like, you're not creating distance. You can get the pallet stun, they have to break it. You end up creating the same amount of distance in the end, because you're like stopping to wait for them when you go for the pallet camp. And you're risking the chance that you get baited and get hit at the pallet. So it's just not worth it to pallet camp, guys. I promise you. Once you guys move up to higher and higher tiers, you'll figure out pallet camping is not a viable strategy, and you have to go for what do you call it? You have to go for just throwing pallet spamming, throwing pallets down, or looping pallets at least. But again, that's why Doctor just doesn't work in top tiers, because Doctor kind of requires pallet camping to be sort of viable. And pallet camping is just not a viable strategy in higher tiers. Now, Doctor's actually not bad against Dream Witch. This is another character not bad against Dream Witch. But again, Psychologist just does it better, guys. Psychologist does it better. Now, Doctor does counter Photographer. Okay, so if we want to get that specific, if you're looking for something that Doctor counters, does counter Photographer and Mad Eyes. Photographer and Mad Eyes. But that's it, guys. But then those are just such uncommonly played characters. Maybe in ranked photo gets played a lot, but in tournament never. It's just not strong enough. So because of these things, Doctor is not very tournament viable. She's okay in rank, but there's way better, more viable characters than Doctor. And that's what makes her the lowest character in B tier. The next character in B tier, and again, Joggy's not going to agree with me on this, but oh well, it is the truth, unfortunately. Sorry, Joggy. Next character is Magician. Magician is... Magician's just kind of an average character in that he's not bad against like Bloody Queen. He's not bad against something like Axe Boy. He's not bad against characters that are like single damage characters, like non-ship characters, single damage characters. He's not bad against Feaster. You can Illusion Tentacles. But he only has 2 illusions to work with, which is not that strong because it's not like illusions trigger attack recovery. If illusions triggered attack recovery, then maybe Magician would probably be more viable. But the problem with Magician is they hit the illusion and the hunter can just keep walking, and on top of that, a smart hunter will just look for the trail of the Magician, and they'll just follow the trail and get the hit anyways. You can only really illusion if you're like near a pallet or a window, and not even a window because they'll just swing at the window. You can illusion yourself to get to a pallet, that works, but if you're caught in the open and you illusion, the hunter's just going to follow your trail and hit you before you can reach any pallet or window. So that's just not very strong at all. On top of that, Magician does have the ability where he gets rescued from the rocket chair. He is invisible for a couple of seconds, and you make distance that way. But again, just look for the trail, guys. As a hunter, they just look for the good hunters, top hunters. They'll look at the trail of the Magician, of where he's going, and just be able to follow him. Now, sometimes if you do super like weird routes and stuff that Joggy likes to do, you can sometimes do what we call breaking the hunter's ankles, which means you kind of can lose the hunter as Magician. But again, a good hunter will almost never let that happen, and that's very rare. So, yeah, because of these things, Magician is just a solid B tier, decent kiter, kind of has rebound potential, but other than that, not much else going for him. The next character in B tier is Explorer. Now, Explorer used to be kind of up there around like A-ish tier, but he's kind of just fallen out of favor. He's been replaced by a lot of other decoders. Obviously, Mechanic was already better than him. Prisoner kind of replaced him for a while, and then Postman as well, because Postman is the decoding letter. Those characters are all just stronger, and they're just more viable. With Explorer, it's like, Explorer's so luck-based, guys. Explorer's like, does your password page spawn near you? If yes, then you're in a pretty good spot. If no, it spawns far away, then you lose so much time running across the map to find it, and that's just really bad. On top of that, does the password page spawn near the hunter? Are you going to run into the hunter to go get your page? No, of course not. So, that's kind of a bad situation. Again, is the person kiting near, first kite in rank, for example, right? Are they kiting near your page? If you're not in 4-person VC, you have no way to tell them, and you're just kind of sitting there waiting for them to get out of there so you can get your page, and you're just not decoding during that time. So in tournament, Explorer's okay, but he's just not great, guys, again, because Explorer gets found, it's like Mind's Eye. Explorer actually has a defense mechanism, and that Explorer can actually hide from the hunter, whereas Mind's Eye kind of struggles to do that. But in certain maps, you can't even play Explorer because you can't even hide. Like Ever Swimming Town, it's so hard to hide as Explorer. And on top of that, it's just like, why would you not just play... there's just better characters, guys. Explorer, by the time it takes for him to get his page, on top of that, he was nerfed where he gets his page 5 seconds slower. By the time it takes for him to run over, get his page, and then go to a cipher and start decoding it, it's pretty much the same amount of time as if you started decoding the cipher instantly from 50%. It got it to 50%. It's almost the same amount of time. And you're risking playing Explorer when you could be playing kiting characters. Now, Explorer does promote rotation, and that Explorer can hide really well, so if the hunter goes to where you spawn as Explorer, and you hide really well, it forces the hunter to leave and go look for other survivors. So that's not a bad ability to have. And you can also see where the hunter is with the red mark when you're in small form. You can tell your teammates. Again, that's not a bad ability to have, but the other decoders are just more efficient. He's just not a very efficient decoder, and if he gets found as a survivor side, you're in a really bad position, unfortunately. And on top of that, Explorer gets countered by Dream Witch. If you're playing Explorer and the Dream Witch sees you, actually they don't have to see you. If you're hiding in a patch of grass and the Dream Witch has their leech, they can just use their their leech. What happens with Dream Witch, guys, is that it'll show a purple mark above someone's head. You know how when you leech someone and you're playing Dream Witch, it shows a purple mark above their head. So if Explorer's hidden in the grass and you can't actually visibly see them, the purple mark will still show up. So you can see an Explorer hiding. So Dream Witch literally just destroys Explorer. Explorer gets countered by Dream Witch. Now Explorer might be good against something like maybe Bonbon or maybe Bloody Queen, because you can hide from the mirror. But that's about it, guys. Even like Feaster. Nobody plays Feaster, but even Feaster counters Explorer, because you can just use your tentacles to point to where the Explorer is. So because of that, Explorer is just really kind of subpar. There's just better decoded characters, and that makes him a B tier survivor. The next survivor in B tier is Wildling. Now Wildling is decent later rounds in that he's like, if a lot of rescuers get bans, sometimes what hunters will do in tournaments, guys, is they'll ban a lot of rescuers, which gives them easy chase targets. So they'll ban Forward, Mercenary, and Gravekeeper or something. It's kind of rare, but it sometimes happens. There are some hunters in NaEu who like to do that as well. So you ban the rescuers and you force them to play like a lot of kiters like Seer and I don't know, Mechanic and whatever, and it's easier to kill those survivors because you don't want to chase rescuers early game. So you're kind of forced to leave them, and that allows the survivors to rotate because they can communicate where the hunter's going and they can rotate accordingly. But if you have no like real rescuers, you can chase pretty much anyone, and that's pretty good for the hunter. But Wildling's one of those characters that you can kind of slide in there that doesn't get banned. And, you know, Wildling's not bad because he's kind of an unchaseable target. As soon as he gets on that boar, as a hunter, you cannot... there's very few hunters that can actually chase him. I think the very few ones are like Soulweaver, and Disciple, and that's about it, guys. I mean, it's so bad for hunters. But the problem is once Wildling was nerfed to where his boar time is like a lot shorter, then that's kind of a problem because it actually doesn't make too much of a difference actually in reality, but it means he can't really harass as much because his boar runs out super fast. If he does get found later in a match, he can just get on his boar and ride it around for 30 seconds or 35 seconds, even if he's used it up the maximum amount of times. Like before it gets to like the minimum time that you can be on boar, which is 35 seconds. 35 seconds is still enough. If you find the Wildling and he gets on his boar, you can't chase him. If you chase a Wildling for 35 seconds and finally wait for his boar to run out, and then you chase him and try to go for 2 more hits on him, he has a guaranteed 35-second kite plus another, I don't know, 40, 50 seconds on you. Like, you're going to get kited for, like, a minute and a half, guys. Like, it's just too long. So Wildling is not bad at all. The problem is his rescuing seals are not very good. Because when you get off the boar, the hunter can just use an ability. You have a 1-second animation as you get off the boar. If it's an axe boy, they can flame you. If it's a Vio, they can string you. If it's a sculptor, they can get a free statue hit. If a Bonbon, you can get a bomb hit. Whatever it is, guys, Wildling just be bad because of that. On top of that, he gets countered by Breaking Wheel. I actually forgot to mention that in the hunters that counter him. I'm really bad. But you can literally just roll over the Wildling, snap him off his boar, and that's it. The snap does not deal damage to the boar. It actually deals damage to the Wildling and pulls him off the boar at the same time. So that just hard counters Wildling that way. So that's really hard for Wildling to deal with. And yeah, I mean, he's an unchaseable character, which isn't bad. Just slow decoding, not great rescuing, not great harassing, and that's why he's a B tier survivor. The next survivor in B tier is First Officer. Now, First Officer is a decent character to use when every other rescuer is not an option, essentially. And he's not bad in that he doesn't feed presence to the hunter unless they get the hit while he's in pocket watch. Comparing to something like Gravekeeper, if you hit the Gravekeeper shovel, then he doesn't have, and then he knocks him out of shovel, and it also feeds presence to the hunter. Whereas with First Officer, you can not feed presence to the hunter because you're in pocket watch because they can't hit you. Now, First Officer is just less consistent than Gravekeeper. Gravekeeper is guaranteed to, like, for the most part, guaranteed. Against some hunters, he's unable to. Not guaranteed, but Gravekeeper is, against a lot of hunters, guaranteed to make it out of the share uninjured because you can have your shovel. Whereas First Officer, the hunter can just swing in the air over and over, and then maybe they'll hit you. And that's a huge risk. Now, First Officer does have that ability where if he gets hit with his watch, then he has 5 seconds of Tide Turner, which he can still get the rescue. But if that's happening, then that means you're getting double hit as the First Officer, which is not very strong. Again, you don't really want to get double hit. With Gravekeeper, you're probably not getting double hit. On top of that, when Gravekeeper gets out of shovel, he saves a lot faster, 50% faster. So with First Officer, his decoding 20% slower is not great. He does have that increased share persistence, but they're not going to chase the First Officer anyway because he has the pocket watches. So that's the biggest problem with First Officer, is that he just is not as consistent of a rescuer as Gravekeeper or Mercenary or something like that. Because you can kind of swing in the air. The Hunter can get lucky. He's a little bit luck-based. The Hunter can't get lucky and hit you out of pocket watch. Whereas with these other rescuers, they're a lot less luck-based and more consistent, as First Officer is very risky and less consistent. And because of that, he's a B-tier survivor. Okay, so the next character in B tier is the Novelist, the new character. Now, a lot of you guys, I know, really like this character, so putting him in kind of lower in B tier, I don't think you guys are very happy with this, unfortunately. This kind of just is, it is what it is, guys. This is kind of how this character goes, is basically like, he's kind of a fun, he's an interesting idea for rank. I actually think he's pretty good in rank, because if you're a good kiter, you can take control of, your bad randoms character, and then take kite for them, which is kind of cool. So I have a feeling the good kiting players in rank will probably be taking this character and playing around with him a little bit. But in tournaments, just is not viable. The reason why is like he's very similar to like Coordinator and Painter, but it's just like Coordinator is okay. Think about it this way, right? If you control the Hunter, you can move them. You can use the few seconds you control and move them away. Well, why would you not just use a Coordinator flare gun? And then Coordinator has all those things we talked about. Plus, on top of that, she also has like the increased share resistance, whatever. And then Painter literally has 2 paintings to work with, just like the Novelist ability, but almost better in a way. I mean, it's hard to say. They're very similar in terms of like how much time they're gonna waste. But Painter's ability is more reliable, and Painter also has the increased chair, not the increased chair, but the chair time, where if you save like at a certain time, it'll continue with the next chair. Which means with like something like a Painter, if a Painter goes down, forward can stun on chair insta rescue, and Painter still has an entire chair time. Whereas with Novelist, obviously you don't have that to work with. So Novelist is an interesting concept and a very fun character for sure. I really like the idea of the character. I just don't think it's very strong in reality. Again, in rank, if you're a good kiter and you're controlling maybe a bad random, then sure, that's a cool thing to do. I mean, that could actually help you in rank because the randoms won't be quite as bad if you can do that. But you do have his ability that you're mostly going to use in tournaments, which is controlling the Hunter. I just think is not as strong compared to something like Painter or Coordinator or something like that. So I think in reality, he's just kind of a weak character overall. Pretty fun concept, but just very weak, and that's what makes him a B tier character. The next character in B tier is Embalmer. Now, Embalmer is very map specific and very specific for going against certain hunters. Embalmer is like really weak against things that have really good map pressure, like Bloody Queen, Wu Chang, Dream Witch, Breaking Wheel. But it can be very good against hunters that carry Blink or have already used Teleport, such as Teleport Bonbon or Teleport Sculptor or something like that. Embalmer is one of those characters that you'll sometimes see get used in tournaments in situations where it's like do or die, like we have to get a 3 survivor escape, for example, right? Because Embalmer's a really good character for that, because what happens is if you get in a situation where it would be a tie, you can put your coffin at the exit gate and put the coffin on someone who's like the last kiter, and then they go down, use the coffin, teleport that survivor to the exit gate, and then they can get out. If the Hunter doesn't have teleport to get to the gate, sure, they don't have Tide Turner in the end game effect. They only have the Tide Turner effect with Embalmer during mid game. That would be broken. But if the Hunter doesn't have teleport, then they can all make it out the open exit gate. They use the coffin at GG's. So Embalmer's kind of a clutch character that you can do that with. He's also good for characters that have really good camping, like a Bonbon, for example. You can coffin away from the Bonbon, self-rescue yourself or rescue a teammate or whatever, and that can be very strong. So he's very specific to certain hunters, and he's very specific on maps as well. Like he's good in big maps, like Lakeside and Moonlit, and also 2-story maps that it's hard to teleport to, like Leo's Memory. Upstairs Factory is good. Sacred Heart Hospital, Upstairs Hospital, if there's no cipher, like upstairs, could be strong as well. So he can be good on those things. He's not very good at small maps. Like he's really bad on arms, really bad on church. But other than that, he can be pretty good at Never Sleeping as well. He's very map specific and very going against very certain hunters. I would not recommend Embalmer and rank guys just because just because you don't know what hunter it's going to be, because it could be a Dream Witch, could be a Wu Chang, could be a BQ. But if you know what hunter it's going to be, like if you're in a tournament and you know this person's probably playing Bonbon or something, or probably playing Feaster, because Feaster's a slow hunter with good camping, or probably playing Sculptor, then Embalmer might not be a bad choice, and that's what makes him a solid B tier character. The next character in B tier is Female Dancer. Now, Dancer is really only good on one map, and that's Arms Factory. And the reason why is you set up a situation where you put all your a bunch of your boxes inside Factory, like you put a slow box there and a fast box there, and then anyone who's kiting can kite towards Factory, and then just abuse the Factory loop on Arms Factory. And already the Factory loop's very strong, but on top of that, if you have music boxes set up, you're just not catching someone. Like if someone takes a hit and pushes Factory, kites to Factory, you got slow box set up, fast box set up, the hunter's not catching you. Like you literally can loop that. You can loop that for so long. I almost swore and I forgot I'm doing a video, not a stream. You can loop that for so long, and there's just nothing the hunter can do about it, and it's just so incredibly strong. So Dancer's really good at helping your teammates out, setting up music boxes inside Factory. Also inside 3 pallet, you can loop around 3 pallet with a fast box and a slow box, something like that. Dancer's also unique in herself in that, you know, you can put fast boxes down in your ciphers and then pick them up when you pop the cipher and move to the next one, put your fast box down, pick it up, keep going. So she's a little bit of a decoder in a way. The fast boxes aren't so much increase where the decoding really is too relevant. It's actually not that much in reality, but it's still nice to have. She also has the little spinning ability where she does the spin, and that's pretty good if you know how to do that properly. It'll spin you to the edge of the box. If the hunter's about to hit you, spin to the edge of the box. If it's in a slow box, the hunter's already slowed down anyway, so you're creating distance while the hunter's being slowed is just really strong. So Dancer's a high B tier character for those reasons. Again, but she's only really good on arms. The rest of the map she's not very good. And that's what makes her. She could be A- tier if she was good on all maps, but since she's only really good on Arms Factory, that makes her a solid B tier character. The next character in B tier is Cowboy. Now Cowboy's kind of annoying to chase. I play Breaking Wheel a lot in rank, and Cowboys for some reason are very good at kiting Breaking Wheel. I don't know why, because if you think about it, they shouldn't really be good at kiting, because what happens is you put the trap in the pallet, and they lasso the pallet and try to go through it, but the trap's there. But for some reason, they do it so fast that it's really hard to actually get the trap off in time. It's weird. I don't know. It's hard to explain. But Cowboy's a high B tier character because he's not a very good harasser. He can support, but he's not a very good support / harasser. He is a very strong kiter, though. Cowboy's a very strong kiter. You can lasso those pallets, get the speed boost. You can lasso ciphers, get a speed boost. You can lasso over the hunter, get a speed boost. If you're near a pallet, you can make it to the pallet possibly. Cowboy's really good because you have all those little things to work with. So because of these reasons, there's not much to say besides that. He's a pretty good kiter. He's an okay rescuer. He's an okay harasser and supporter. Not great though. Because of these things, he's a high B tier character. And yeah, not much else to say other than when he decodes with a male character, he decodes slower. Decodes with a female, decodes faster. That's not really too relevant. You don't double decode that much at any point unless it's like endgame. So I don't know. That's not too much to say on that, but yeah, Cowboy's a good kiter all around, solid B tier character. The next character in B tier is Perfumer. Now Perfumer is the Perfumer is not very good in this meta because of all the chip hunters. If you guys notice, if you guys play Perfumer, and you go against Sculptor, you go against Bonbon, you know that you're in for a rough time. It's a hard kite. Kiting a Bonbon, kiting a Sculptor is so hard as Perfumer. Now, Perfumer is pretty good against characters like Bloody Queen, or maybe Axe Warrior, maybe Feaster, but nobody really plays those that much. And then she's decent against Breaking Wheel, but she's actually not as good as she looks, because good Breaking Wheels, what they do is they'll roll over the Perfumer and then get out as soon as they roll over, and if they perfume back to the spot, to the place where they spike them, then they'll just smack them, they'll hit them. As a Perfumer, you have to do it super quick. You have to perfume back, and you have to be right next to a pallet. If you're not immediately next to a pallet, they're just going to get a wheel form and hit you. If you're next to a pallet, then you can get to it in time. Next to a window, you can probably get to it in time. But it's not quite as strong as it actually looks, because the Breaking Wheels controls are so good that they can... good Breaking Wheels can get a second spike on you before your next perfume comes back anyways. So in reality, she's not quite as strong as you think against Breaking Wheel. She is very good on 2-story maps, like Ever Sleeping Town. She can go up to that 2-story building, perfume, and then drop down the hole. Sacred Heart Hospital, you can perfume, drop down the hole, make the hunter wait for you to, make the hunter wait for you to your perfume to run out before they can drop down after you. So that's pretty nice to have. But the problem is another part is she feeds presence, and presence is a huge part of this meta. Again, presence for Sculptor is so important. Presence for Breaking Wheel is so important. Presence for Bonbon is so important. Once they reach those full presence, they're in so incredible positions. Breaking Wheel can get the extra spike. Sculptor gets the target statues. Bonbon gets the longer bombs and the bombs charging up quicker. These meta hunters thrive against free presence, except for Bloody Queen. She's Perfumer is very strong against Bloody Queen because she can perfume the mirrors. She's one of the very few characters that can actually kite out mirrors. Everybody's like, oh, I don't know how to kite Bloody Queen. Well, guys, there's no real way to kite Bloody Queen. You just have to kind of juke the mirrors and hope the BQ messes them up. There's not much you can do. You can vault windows for speed boost or pallets for speed boost to try to kite it out that way, but good BQs are patient and won't mirror until after you waste your speed boost. So yeah, she's one of the very few characters that can actually kite a Bloody Queen just straight up because of her ability. Whereas a lot of characters can't do that. So because of these things, Perfumer is high B tier. She's a good kiter. She's a pretty good rescuer as well. She has her perfumes that can help her save. She's decent in rank. She's good with a Seer on the team. If you perfume, they bait it out, and then you get an owl. You can get your next perfume back. So she's not bad. She's good later rounds in a tournament, especially if you know it's probably going to be BQ. Other than that, though, she's a high B tier character and just a solid character all around. The next character in B tier, and I never thought I'd put this character this high, but the next character in B tier is actually Acrobat. Once Acrobat got his buff, he was actually kind of good, guys. He's not a bad character now, believe it or not. I used to hate Acrobat and think he was really bad. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, no, not Eli hating Acrobat, but I actually used to think Acrobat was really bad and not really like him. I mean, he was really bad. He used to be pretty bad, but now he's not a bad character. He's actually kind of viable and maybe third round in tournaments and also in rank. So, now with his new buff, he can charge up his ability and dash, or not dash, but jump a lot farther. If the hunter's about to catch you, you can jump back over them with a slow bomb if they miss their hit. Then they get slowed down and you can actually just get away from it. You can get away from getting a free hit. Also, if you charge him up while running, you can just jump super far, create a lot of distance. We still got the balls to work with, the bombs to work with, where you slow down the hunter, fire bomb to cancel abilities, and I think it's the sticky bomb, which slows down picking up speed, right? The sludge bomb, sticky bomb, and interaction speed bomb, frost bomb, whatever it's called. I don't know. It's one of those bombs or something. But he's not bad. He can do the long jump from distances. He can get pretty far. He's still really strong on Moonlit River Park. And instead of the bombs being kind of useless in the open, they're actually kind of strong because if you charge, you can make some distance. Not much else to say besides that. He can rescue as well if you manage to land the firebomb on the hunter, cancel their abilities, and they can't really use their camping abilities anymore. So he's a fun character all around. Not a bad kiter. Best character in B tier, Acrobat. Okay, moving on to the next tier. We're a little over halfway now. Finally, the next tier is A tier, and the first character in A tier is Toy Merchant. And Toy Merchant, guys, I think is actually really strong. A lot of people have been asking me this during streams. Eli, what do you think of Toy Merchant? I think she's really good on certain maps, guys. Remember, certain maps. Let's say the 3 best maps for her, in my opinion, are Moonlit River Park, Ever Sleeping Town, and Sacred Heart Hospital. And the reason why is because on Moonlit River Park, if you go up on one of those platforms like second stop, third stop, you can jump down those and just like fly away on your glider and make so much distance. If you jump out of the 2-story building, you can get on your glider and literally fly almost all the way to first stop and just take the roller coaster across the map. GG's. You just win the game straight up from there because the hunters lost you. Ever Sleeping Town, if you jump out of one of the 2-story buildings, get on your glider. If you're in the middle 2-story building and you jump on your glider, you can fly all the way up towards the graveyard window and then just vault it, get into graveyard, and you're gone. You get so much distance with that. And the graveyard window in Ever Sleeping, as we know, guys, is so strong because the hunter's forced to vault it to catch up to you. Also, Sacred Heart Hospital, you guys know there's the big opening upstairs that leads out like kind of above birdcage-ish, sort of, that leads out towards statue. You can jump out of that, get on your glider, and literally fly all the way to ruins. Or you can just loop around back into hospital. Whatever you want to do, there's just so much you can do with it. There's so many unique plays you can make with her. You can also literally get on your glider, fly around in the air a bunch of times, and then just fly through the birdcage window and go back into hospital. If you guys don't know what I mean by birdcage, it's the area that sticks out of hospital, that circular area where that cipher is. It has the window and the pallet that they added in. It used to be 2 windows, and then like a couple months ago they changed it to a pallet. That's what birdcage is. But that's just so strong. And then on top of that, you have your catapults that you can set up. If you set them on the ground, the hunter comes to you, you can jump on it, glide on it, make some distance, get to a better kiting area, possibly something like that. She also starts out the game with an item. So if you have a teammate that's like used up their item already, then you can just throw them their item whenever they want. They can also, at any point, again, guys, Cypher Rush is so important to have optimal Cypher Rush. So if you're stopping to search chests as Toy Merchant, it's probably not ideal, but sometimes you might have to, so you never know. But Toy Merchant can literally throw the item too, which is so fun. So you can literally throw the item. Like if you start the game with like an illusion, you can throw it at your teammate that's already used their items and just they can grab it and kite with an illusion or something. I don't know. It's pretty cool. And last but not least, guys, Toy Merchant is also very strong against Breaking Wheel. Because again, if you have your catapult set up, the wheel goes up to you, you can jump on your catapult and fly away and like fly to a window. And there's nothing the Breaking Wheel can do. Literally nothing. They can't get you while you're in the air, and if you get to a good window, then they can't catch you. GG's. It's so strong. So Toy Merchant, solid A tier, maybe even higher up in A tier. I might even have her too low, but I think she's a very strong character right now, and expect to see her a lot more in tournament gameplay. All right, so the next character in A tier is Gravekeeper. Now, Gravekeeper is he used to be like high A plus, and then he was like lower A plus, and he's like moved down to A, and he's like now lower A. He's just kind of just fallen out of favor. In that, again, presence feeding is so crucial in this meta. Gravekeeper feeds presence to Bonbon. He feeds it to Sculptor. Feeds it to, I don't know, who else? Wu-Chang if you played against him, which you're not going to, but... I don't know. He's pretty strong against Breaking Wheel, but that's about it. And even then, people like to use Merc anyways. The problem with Grave is that, yeah, 1, he feeds presence, and 2... the meta, again, is also about Cypher Rush for survivors. We're also playing, a lot of people are playing, you have like 1 rescuer, like whether it's a forward or a merc or something, and then you just have like a lot of fast decoders, like Psychologist and Seer and Entomologist, 3 fast decoders, and then 1 rescuer. And if you're going for 2 rescuer strats, then it's not as good. Gravekeeper is a good later round rescuer, and also a good rescuer against Dream Witch, but other than that, just not too strong because he feeds presence. He is really good in that, he can get all the way up to the chair, usually uninjured, because you can go in that shovel. If the hunter cuts you off from a distance, they'll just hit you out of shovel, go into attack recovery, and then you make it to the chair. The only hunter that you would struggle against sometimes is Bonbon. Sculptor is pretty easy to dodge the statues as long as she's not full presence. Even with full presence, you can still dodge them. Bonbon's just the hardest one. As long as you have constant movement, so you can dodge them. So, but yeah, Gravekeeper is really good at getting all the way to the chair uninjured. And he's really good at making clean rescues because he saves so fast. He has 50% increased rescue speed, which makes him a good rescuer. This problem is if he gets found first, he feeds presence. So other than the presence feeding, he's a solid character, and that's what makes him a good A tier character. The next character in A tier is Prospector. Now Prospector is Dr. Disrespect, for those of you who know him, big Prospector player. Was complaining in the IVT chat that no one was playing Prospector. So too bad for him, I guess. But yeah, Prospector's a solid A tier character. He has good kiting potential. He can also support if used properly. The problem is, guys, in rank, a lot of Prospectors don't support properly. You actually don't want to support a lot. The only times you really want to support is if the Cypher Machine's almost primed and you're trying to help your the last person stay alive, so you can pop the Cypher and have it run up and push for a win. Or if someone kites through your Cypher, you can support. You can throw a magnet to stun them. Make sure you're not stunning them in a super open area where they can just turn around and smack you. Make sure you're near a window or a pallet, so if you stun them, you can easily get away as well. Disrespect is so good at that. He's really good at supporting when someone kites through his Cypher. Normally you don't want to kite to people's Cyphers, but a lot of people in rank, they kite through people's Cypher, and he's really good at supporting and helping them make distance. That's something he's good at with Prospector. So that's something you guys want to keep in mind is don't go out of your way to harass guys. Like if they're kiting close to your Cypher, but not that close, so much so where you need to like leave it, don't go harass. Just keep decoding. Only harass if they're kiting literally on top of your Cypher, or if the last Cypher is almost primed. Other than that, guys, don't go out of your way to harass. It's not worth it. Because then you're just losing too much decoding time. But yeah, Prospector's a good kiter if used properly. Even against large hitbox hunters, if you use the attract, you can pull them into objects, which is strong. You can push away hunters with small hitboxes. Yeah, just a solid kiter. He gets the speed boost when he passes a metal object. So it does have a long cooldown for that, but still, it's just a solid kiter all around. He's fine third round for tournaments. He's fine in rank as well. Solid A tier character, Prospector. The next character in A tier is Painter. Now, Painter is, guys, it's like 3 in the morning, so I'm losing my train of thought. Oh, actually, it's 4 in the morning. Never mind. I lied. I forgot there's a time change. Wait, no, did time change go back? I actually don't know. I feel like I don't know the time change. I don't pay attention. Anyways, we're not going to talk about the time change. I might just be really dumb. I'm sorry, guys, if I... We're not going to talk about the time change. Anyways, Painter... Painter is a strong character. There's a really good combination that I want to instantly point out. Painter is really strong with forward, because for 2 reasons. One, it usually forces the hunter to bring excitement, which means that they don't get to have blink, which means their early game chase isn't as strong, and that can be very weak for hunters, especially with hunters that don't typically want to bring excitement anyways, where they need blink. Like Breaking Wheel likes to bring blink, but if they don't get to bring blink, they have to bring excitement. Bloody Queen likes to bring blink, but they don't get to do that because they have to bring excitement. You see what I'm saying? So there's like so many situations where you force the hunter to bring blink, to bring excitement. If they don't bring excitement, or if they've already used it, then forward can stun on chair instantly against like a Bonbon. Let's say Bonbon, a good camping hunter, will chair a Painter. Forward can instantly just stun on chair during the chairing animation. He can rescue the Painter instantly. The Painter goes down later, still has an entire chair time left over, because that's just how Painter works. He gets the entire chair time over, which is really strong. So because of these things, Painter is an A tier character, mostly because of his chair time. You can also bring Snooze with him as well. Makes the chair time even longer. Pretty broken. He also has 2 paintings to work with, which are also very strong. The only downside is good hunters can look around the paintings and kind of counter them. You have to be very careful as a painter, especially in high tiers, to place them in areas where the hunters can't really counter them and look around them. Make sure the hunter actually looks at them. Run circles around your painting if you have to, but make sure the hunter has to look at them. Don't just put them in random spots in the open where the hunter can just like walk around and not have to look at it. Make sure you're forcing the hunter to look at your painting. But yeah, 2 paintings to work with. Nice chair time as well. Solid character. A tier character. The next character in A tier and the last character in A tier is Prisoner. Now, Prisoner was like A+, but he actually fell behind because of Postman. Postman's decoding letter, a lot of players, especially in China, have figured out that that's just a lot stronger, and Postman isn't really as much of the main meta in tournaments anymore. Still fine in rank, but just not used that much anymore because Postman has kind of taken over that decoding letter. He's also a pretty easier kill, whereas Postman's a better kiter. So Painter has the ability to connect to 2 cipher machines. He does lose a little bit of transmission depending on how close or how far away the cipher machines are. You can put it up to 48%. Prisoner's pretty good, a pretty good decoder. You can connect the ciphers, finish up someone's cipher. Say the Mercenary cipher is like 90% of the way done, and the Merc has to go early for a save, and you could just finish up that cipher and, just like that, help the Merc finish the cipher so they don't have to do it. They don't have to go back and do it. They can just start a new one. Prisoner also has increased... Well, he doesn't have increased vaulting speed, but he has regular vaulting speed. So he can... he doesn't have decreased vaulting like Mechanic or Mind's Eye. He also has that 1 shock to start at the game to work with, and on top of that, he can rebuild his shock if he's decoding a cipher. He does get heartbeat 20%. Like, the hunter can get 20% closer, I think is what it is, before he gets heartbeat. So you have to be communicating well with your teammates to let the Prisoner know if the hunter's coming. So yeah, Prisoner's not a bad character. Best character in A tier, just kind of solid all around. Pretty good decoder, not much else to say. There are Postman and Mechanic are kind of better in terms of the decoding department, but other than that, Prisoner's not bad later rounds, and maybe even round 1 if necessary, but it's not as common to see that anymore. But yeah, best character in A tier is Prisoner. Okay, 2 more tiers to go. The next tier is A+ tier, and the first character in A+ tier is Batter. Now, I hate going against Batter in rank. Batter is so annoying. It depends. Here's the thing. It depends if it's a good batter. A good batter is really hard to deal with. A bad batter is kind of just throws and gives me free wins. But good batters are really hard to deal with. Because with batter, when a survivor goes down, they get that increased speed for like a short period of time, which makes it really hard to like actually slow them down and stop them. A good harassing batter is so hard to deal with, especially with me as a breaking wheel player. It's just so challenging because what happens is with forward, you can go roll over a forward and then just drop a trap at your feet to like block them from harassing. But with batter, you can't do that because they harass from a distance. So you actually have to land the trap on them, and batters will just like dodge it and stuff. They're like good at dodging and stuff. So it's so hard to deal with a batter as a breaking wheel. And some other hunters have trouble with it too. Sculptor, it's pretty easy. It's actually not that bad for Sculptor. Chip hunters can deal with them pretty easily, but with specific characters like Breaking Wheel, it's really challenging. Bloody Queen, it can be kind of challenging as well. Let's see if like Mirror Up and stuff. So with Batter, they can also like cancel their cooldown using the rage. It's not called rage mode. What is it? Rage something mode? It's something. I don't know. I forgot what it's called. But they can cancel their cooldown using that ability, which is also really strong as well. So let me take my jacket off because it's hot in here. Yeah, not much to say besides that. Batter also has increased power throwing speed, increased vaulting speed, which is really nice to have. Does have decoding speed decreased. Batter can also, but which is not too bad though, because Batter can also stun on chair. If you use your rage mode or whatever it's called, you can, when the hunter's going into their chair animation, you can stun them with that with that mode, and then you can rescue the survivor even if you're at half health as a batter. And if like you have Tide Turner or something, then it ends up being like if the Cypher's is primed and you go for that play, then that's great. Or if it's like a Bonbon that's really good camping abilities, then also great. It's like Ford going for stun on chair, same thing with Batter. So Batter can also kind of do that. So he's like a harasser, like when Ford gets banned, that's like actually viable, which is, we haven't really seen one in a while, like a good harasser besides Ford when Ford's banned. Batter is actually worth harassing because he decodes slower anyways, and his harassing is better than something like Prospector, for example. So I don't know if you guys saw, but there was a match between GR and I think ZQ, where there was a batter on ZQ that literally just looped. It was against PBX's Bonbon. PBX is one of the hunters in China. The batter literally ran circles around Shaq against the Bonbon and just kept hitting him backwards over and over and over. And the Bonbon literally could not catch up because he kept going around angles around the corner of Shaq, so he couldn't throw bombs at him, and he kept hitting him back. I've never seen someone go around Shaq so many times and just not get hit by anything. It was actually just insane. So that's a pretty interesting strategy that you can do. You have to. One way that hunters will counter, you have to be careful when you're playing batter, is the hunters will like walk up against a wall. So if the batter hits them back, then they'll just hit them into the wall, and the hunter won't go. They won't go anywhere. You see what I'm saying? So that's one thing with batter that's like that can be a downside. But you can stun them if you're using your rage mode again. It will stun them if you hit them into the wall that way. But it does kill your ball. Your ball will disappear from that. So you gotta be careful. So because of these things, Batter is a good kiter, a good supporter, good rescuer. Makes him, he just does have bad decoding speed. But other than that, he's good. He's a solid A+ tier character. The next character in A+ tier is Coordinator. Now, Coordinator, we talked about Coordinator throughout this video because we compare a lot of characters to Coordinator. But Coordinator is very strong because, I mean, you just think about it this way. She's so diverse. She's so well-rounded. She can rescue with her flare gun. She can support with her flare gun. She can kite, not only using her flare gun, but she has increased vaulting speed by 10%. She has increased chair persistence by 10%. She can sit on the rocket chair for a while, which means you don't really want to chase her. She decodes at a regular speed when nobody's on chair. And she's a rescuer, so she can do both. She's a rescuer that can decode at a regular speed. She can technically harass late game with her flare gun if necessary, although it never really works because hunters will always drop. But besides that, I mean, she literally has everything. She has support, kiting, rescuing, decoding. It's insane. She has like everything built into one, and it's not like everything's like, it's not like Lawyer where it's like weak. Everything is sort of built into one, but like weak. With Coordinator, everything's built into one, and they're just strong abilities for all of them. So Coordinator is very well-rounded, very versatile. And she's strong against characters like Bonbon, against hunters with really good camping abilities. If they don't have excitement, then they can't deal with her. Like a Bonbon can't deal with a Coordinator if they don't have excitement. And if they don't have excitement, then they're probably getting kited in the early game because they don't have blink. So I mean, it's just like there's just so good reasons to use Coordinator because of all those different things. Let me put my jacket back on because it's actually cold. Because of all those different traits that she has built into her. And on top of that, she's good rescuer against good camping hunters. Again, like Bonbon. Against Sculptor, she's not bad. You do have to be careful, though. The Sculptor can block the statues. Block the flare gun with the statues. But if you time it right, if you fake it, you can get them to waste a vertical statue, and then you shoot them. So that's pretty cool as well. Hunters can, of course, dodge the flare gun if they juke behind a wall, so you have to watch out for that. But besides that, guys, Coordinator's a very strong character, very well-rounded, and makes her a solid A+ character. The next character in A+ tier is actually one that I've really started to like. I actually used to hate this character, and people are like, you'll like him eventually. I'm like, no, I won't, and I actually do like him now, and that's Postman. Postman is very strong, guys. Postman is very strong. Not so much in rank. He's not bad in rank, but he's very strong in tournament gameplay. And the reason why is because he gives that decoding letter. 20% increased decoding to the person he gives to is so strong, guys. The fact that you can just give the decoding letter to like the Mercenary, right? And they normally would decode 25% slower. Instead, it's 5 now. That's just incredibly strong. You also have the exit gate letter, which makes you open the exit gate. I think it's called Hope. Exit gate letter makes you open the gate faster. You can also see dungeon. That can be strong as well. The rescuing letter isn't that important. In tournaments, you really only go for rescues unless it's like a safe rescue, like you're double rescuing a Sculptor or double rescuing a Bonbon, or using Ento Beast to support, or forward stunning on chairs. So you never really they never really use the rescuing letter that much. On top of that, Postman's a kind of a decoder because the decoding letter that can also kite. He has regular vaulting speed, and he also has the dog, which you can use to slow down the hunter, which is actually very strong, and it's actually really strong against Sculptor, because Sculptor like to use their statues to block off pathways that you want to normally run through, and you can simply just dog the Sculptor, slow them down. Even if they put a statue there, then you're still faster than them, so you can still create enough distance to get away, even if they try to cut you off. So Postman's just really good because he can kite. He has the dog to help him kite. He can give decoding letters, which increase decoding speed, and open the gate faster in the end game if you give the Hope letter. I'm pretty sure is what it's called. And you can also see dungeon, which normally your dead teammates can look forward to. You'd see it at some point throughout the match, but still very strong. Postman, very versatile, very strong. A solid A+ tier character, very good in tournaments, and not bad in rank. The next character in A+ tier is Entomologist. Entomologist is a favorite of mine. I've always loved Ento. Ento, when she did get that one buff a while back, she was ridiculously broken S tier. Then she got nerfed, so well now, the bees, you can kill the bees. Before, you couldn't even really like kill. If you pulled them back, then they would go back. They would regen their health, which was broken. Now they go to half health, which is balanced. But she's still very strong because Entomologist support is just so key in a lot of high-level tournament gameplay. The bees will be used to push survivors back, push the hunter back. If the hunter ever goes into attack recovery, like for example, if the hunter's camping and they hit the rescuer, if the bees are there while the hunter's in attack recovery, you can just push the hunter really far back, and the person that was rescued just gets a lot of distance and can rebound kite a lot easier now. For those of you who don't know what rebound kite is, it's when you kite after you get rescued. So it's like your second kite. And on top of that, her kiting skills are just so good. If you can literally just ride your bees and go really fast, and you can just put your bees in an alleyway, put your bees on stairs, whatever narrow area it may be. The hunter will have to either walk through that very slowly, or they'll have to actually kill the bees, which means they're stopping to swing at them. And if they stop to swing at them, then you can just pull them back again and keep riding them and create even more distance. So that's just really strong. Ento's a good kiter and a very good supporter. One of the best support characters in the game. You can literally, what a lot of entomologists will do is she's good in rank 2, by the way, guys. You'll put your bees like in the middle area of a map, and if any survivor kites towards middle, you can just use the bees to support, push the hunter back, give them distance. It takes about 3 seconds to do, and you're not really losing a lot of decoding time, and it helps the person's kite by like 30 plus seconds. Totally worth it. That's why Entomologist is a high A+ tier character. The next character in A+ tier is one of the newer characters, Patient. Patient is very good, guys. Is a very good kiter. Very good against the chip hunters. Bonbon and Sculptor get kited by a good Patient. There's a lot of fun tricks you can do with Patient as well. He's very strong on Lakeside Village, Ever Sleeping Town, and I can't remember the last one off the top of my head. I think maybe Sacred. Maybe. I'm trying to think here. Oh, Leo's Memory is also very good. Yeah, there's some really good maps for him. On Eversleeping Town, he can pull himself up to the 2-story buildings, and you can keep kiting that way. Lakeside Village, you can pull yourself onto the ramp, and then you can pull yourself onto the building or onto the big boat if you're already halfway up the ramp. On Sacred, you can pull yourself into the birdcage window, which is very strong. On Leo's Memory, you can pull yourself up the stairs for a certain amount of length up the stairs. There's just so many cool tricks that you can do with Patient. There's a lot of really broken Patient pulling hook areas. You can pull yourself over the fence in Wedding into the red carpet area on Red Church. There's just so many really fun abilities you can do with Patient. So Patient's a good kiter in that again. He's pretty good at kiting Wheel, very good at kiting chip hunters like Sculptor and Bonbon. Very versatile kiter. Can rescue as well. Can be a rescuer if you want him to be. He's just very strong, and he's paired well with the Psychologist, although you never really see it get used, since Psychologist is really good against the one-hit hunters, where Patient's better against the chip hunters. You do have to be careful again with Patient. If you go for a hook, the Sculptor statues can block the hook. That's why Sculptor's so ridiculously broken. The statues can just block so many things that it shouldn't be allowed to, but they do anyway. So you do have to be careful with that. But other than that, yeah, if you're good with Patient, you land your hooks. Patient is a very strong character, very good kiter, can also rescue, A+ tier character. Okay, at long last, we're moving on to the final tier, that is S tier. And finally, guys, a new character has joined the standard 5 characters in S tier, and that new character is Psychologist. Psychologist is S tier, guys. She is so strong. The ability to, and she's also the first character in S tier, the ability to take 3 hits guaranteed, as long as it's not chip hunters, is actually the most broken thing ever. Just a 3-hit character straight up. You guys may be like, oh, well, we've had Seer, we've had this, we'd have that. Yes, but guys, Seer Owl is just like, it's not as strong as a Psychologist taking a hit, because Psychologist can create distance. She gets a speed boost when she gets hit with that thing. The Owl doesn't run it. You can just wait out Owl. You have to hit the Psychologist 3 times, or else you're not going to kill her. On top of that, Psychologist can literally heal survivors from anywhere on the map. Sure, she takes damage from it, but she can heal survivors anywhere on the map, which is just so strong. She can trade the health with them. And to add the cherry on top, guys, she has that bar. If you get killed, but if she goes down before the bar's up, then she will get healed. And you have to hit her 2 extra times off chair if she still has anything left on that green bar. That is just that is ridiculously strong. Like, how do you beat that? You don't. She's cracked. And actually, to make it even better, she just a character that can be used in any team comp, which is Psychologist. On top of that, counters Dream Witch. I mean, it just gets better and better and better. She's just so strong. She can literally kite. She can even kite Sculptor. If you run in the open and force 3 basic hits against a Sculptor, if you have a Seer on the team as well, that's 4 hits. That's just ridiculously strong. Think about that, guys. With Owl on the team, 4 hits. Guaranteed 4 hits, pretty much. Guaranteed 3, and then with the Seer Owl, 4 hits. That's so strong. She counters Dream Witch. She can be used against pretty much any hunter. Probably the weakest hunter to go against is Bonbon. But she can be used against pretty much any hunter. She can heal teammates from across the map. She can take 3 hits, and she can heal herself with the bar if she has anything left on the bar. I mean, that's just ridiculously strong. She can also combo with Patient to pull them closer to each other or whatever if necessary. But yeah, she's just such a strong character, absolutely broken, and so easy to play. It's not like it's a character that takes time and skill to learn. She's very skillless, does not take a lot of skill at all. She's such an easy character to play that is ridiculously broken. I never thought we'd see NetEase would make an easy character to play that's this strong. But they did, and it's Psychologist, and she's S tier. The next character in S tier is, we're going to have the same old S tiers, guys, after this. The big excitement was the Psychologist, but moving on to the last 5 characters, which are the standard 5 S tier characters. The first one is Seer. Seer is very strong. I mean, pretty straightforward. The Seer can see the hunter at the start of the match, see which direction they're going. You can tell your teammates. You can rotate accordingly. Seer Owl can be used to absorb a hit. Obviously, we know that. Seer is actually very strong against Sculptor, guys, believe it or not. Because, again, if you transition in the open, you force the Sculptor to hit you 3 times. As long as you're not eating statue hits, and you're transitioning in the open and dodging statues, doubling back into the hunter to make sure you don't get statued, Seer is very strong. Because Seer can absorb hits with that Owl, which is just very strong overall. So Seer is an S tier character. You know, you can make all of your teammates take up to 3 hits because of that Seer out, which is just so good. And yeah, because of these things, Seer is S tier. There's not much else to say. Seer also has that vision. He can sometimes spot out the outline of the hunter throughout the match, so you can communicate with your teammates where the hunter's going, rotate accordingly. You can also rotate if the hunter's coming to you. Seer is just a very strong character. You can also look behind you to build up an owl, which doesn't make him a bad kiter either. So, yeah, good support character, good kiter. Seer is very strong, always has been S tier and still is. The next character in S tier is a Mercenary. Mercenary, it was funny. I was actually watching Cat's 007 video, and I saw how high-pitched his voice was from 3 years ago in comparison to now. And then I was like, I wonder if anyone else sounds like this. So then I looked up an iAlien video to see if Alien's voice was the same. And actually, Alien has the same voice from 3 years ago as he does now. It like literally just not changed. But whatever, we'll talk about that later. That's actually kind of a funny comment. Maybe I'll make a video about that at some point. I don't know. But Mercenary used to have 6 elbow pads. I didn't even know that. I thought it was just 5 because I was watching that video from 3 years ago and he had 6 elbow pads. But now Mercenary has, we're getting back to the point of Mercenary. Now Mercenary has 3 elbow pads. You know, that's not too bad. Mercenary has a 10% increased chair persistence as well. He also has 15 seconds delay when taking that hit, which is also really, I think it's 15 seconds, which is very good. Mercenary is just kind of the best rescuer, kind of solid all around. Besides forward, he's such a strong rescuer. He's very good at kiting in the early game. If you get chased, you can just elbow pad away to avoid hits. Yeah, Mercenary's always been S tier, still S tier, so strong. Very good rescuer. If you were to get Terror Shock, you're still going to make the rescue because of the delayed effect. If you were to get stuffed by like a Violinist Node in a regular hit or whatever it may be, if you're going to get double hit, I mean, you still get double hit, which isn't great, but Mercenary can still make the rescue. Mercenary is just almost always going to make that rescue guaranteed. Sometimes against Bonbon or Sculptor Chip Hunters, it can be hard. But other than that, Mercenary is just so strong. The delayed effect, the increased chair persistence makes him not worth chasing. Plus the elbow pads makes him not worth chasing. He's just a solid S tier character. Very, very good rescuer. The next character in S tier is Priestess. Roach. Priestess is broken, guys. Priestess is used in every comp against every hunter. She's the most versatile character in terms of going against other hunters. She can be used against literally any hunter. And she's just so strong. Maybe Breaking Wheel a little bit. It's kind of But other than that, every hunter she's so strong against. Priestess is such a strong character, especially on Ever Sleeping Town, Sacred Heart Hospital. That support with the portals is just incredibly hard for hunters to deal with. You can set up those birdcage portals. You can set up the portals literally through any building on Ever Sleeping Town because of how wide the buildings are. She's not only a good kiter on those maps, again, on those maps, she's a good supporter on those maps. The only map she's not very good on is Arms Factory. Other than that, she's just so good on pretty much everything. On top of that, you have, on top of your portals, you have World Portal, Global Portal, or Ultra Long Portal, whatever you want to call it, that can extend across the map. If a survivor goes through it, then you can heal them once the hunter hits their after image, and if they don't have teleport, then they're gone, and the hunter has to chase somebody new. The Priestess can also go through the portal without even leaving an after image. That's literally so broken. If you set up a World Portal at the beginning of the game and the hunter goes up to you, you literally just go through your portal and you're gone, and the hunter has to go find a new target. It's so strong. The only downside, of course, is the hunter can see the outline of the portal, but still, it doesn't really matter. It's still already broken, so. The fact that Priestess is a good kiter. Priestess can also rescue. Let's take Ever Sleeping Town, for example. If they chair you on a chair near one of the buildings, Priestess can portal through the building, save you, and go back. She can also technically save at half health, although it's very rare. But she can portal through the chair and do the portal trick. The hunter's going to go back through the portal, and then you get a free rescue. You have to against a good hunter like a Bonbon, sometimes it's worth it. And it will stun the hunter as well, so you can get a little bit of distance with that as well. Yeah, Priestess is just so strong, such a good support character, such a good kiter, and a good rescuer as well. She has all 3 traits that make her strong: kiting, rescuing, and support. She is an S tier character, one of the best characters in the entire game. The next character in S tier, 2 more to go. The next one in S tier is Forward. Forward is such a strong character because he has he's the best harassing character in the entire game. He's a good supporter as well. What a lot of forwards will do, especially in tournaments, is if you hit, for example, if the hunter is chasing someone near the forward and they hit that survivor, go into attack recovery. As soon as the attack recovery is starting to run down, the forward will go for a stun, which will make it last even longer, which gives the survivor that took a hit even more distance, and it forces the hunter to change targets onto the forward, which is really bad for the hunter because forward's kiting is so strong. Because forward has increased pallet throwing speed, increased vaulting speed, plus he has football to work with, and he decodes 30% slower anyway, so if you're wasting time chasing forward, that means the rest of your teammates that decode faster are the ones decoding and not the forward, which is stronger for survivors. So forward can do that. Forward can harass. Obviously, if survivor goes down, the forward can stun the hunter as they pick him up. You can rescue survivors that way. Forward can also stun on share. If it's a good camping hunter, again, like a Bon, you share the survivor. The forward can stun on share while the hunter's in the chair animation, and you can get the guaranteed rescue. That's just so ridiculously strong. And because of forward's a great kiter, great rescuer, great harasser, again, 3 very strong abilities to have, and in great support character. He is the second best character in the game. He is S tier. Very, very difficult character to play. It's not a character you can just pick up and play, guys. Forward is the hardest character in the game to play. It takes a lot of not only game sense, you have to know when to harass and when to decode, not only game sense, but also just good controls and good skills with forward as well. Forward is the second best character in the game if used properly. He is S tier. Last but not least, finally, the last character in S tier and the best character in the game is, surprise, surprise, Mechanic. We already knew that was coming. Mechanic is the best character in the game. She is S tier. The ability to have to, guys, you literally can put a bot out and it will do an entire cipher by itself. The ability to make your team, and you literally have to decode 4 ciphers to win the game instead of 5. The ability to only have to do 4 ciphers to win the game is just cracked. That's just so broken. It's so strong. If Mechanic gets found first and she dies in 5 seconds, you're still going to tie the match because your bot's doing an entire cipher machine for free by itself. Mechanic is the most banned character in the entire game. Sculptor bans her. Bon bans her. Sometimes Dreamwitch will ban her even. Breaking Wheel bans her. Pretty much every hunter except for, I guess, Dreamwitch. Dreamwitch would rather ban Priestess or Seer or Psychologist, but round 3 Dreamwitch could ban her. You never know. Yeah. Mechanic is just so strong. She's the most banned character in tournaments, the most banned character in ranked. She's just a ridiculously strong character. As long as your bot doesn't die, if you do a decent kite, you're winning the game because your bot's doing an entire cipher machine for free. It's just so hard. On top of that, it's so hard for hunters to deal with that. On top of that, mechanics will bring snooze, so they're expecting to be kiting first anyway. They put it on the rocket chair, they die slower because of snooze. You can put your bot on the exit gate, and the bot will open the exit gate for free with no calibrations at all, guys. I mean, most of you guys probably know that, but think about that. Just imagine having one exit gate get opened for free with no one even having to be there. It's so strong. On top of that, late game, if your bot's about to die, instead of letting your bot run out, you can leave it in the middle area of the map. If you can't get it to an exit gate in time, you can leave it in the middle area of the map. And late game, the hunter will get fed tinnitus by the bot. Like if the hunter chases someone in the end game, they share someone near middle, they can't leave that share and teleport away because the bot's feeding tinnitus, so they can't even leave. I mean, that's just so ridiculously strong. What are you going to do about that as a hunter? There's nothing you can do. You don't know it's the bot, and you're just getting screwed by the bot. You don't know how much energy it has left. The bot could technically just save, so you got to be careful of that. Mechanic stall is just so strong. And the fact that Mechanic can decode on chair as well or on the ground is just so strong. And the fact that the bot decodes 25% faster is so strong. Mechanic is the best character in the game, the best decoder in the game. She can also rescue while decoding with her bot at the same time. There's just so many fun plays you can do with Mechanic. She is S tier, again, best character in the game. And yeah, that's Mechanic. Okay, at long last, guys, that's going to wrap it up for the video. I know this was a long one, but it's a tier list. What do we expect? Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to watch the Identity 5 North America European official tournament this weekend. I will be commentating again. Don't forget to come out and support your favorite teams. Keep the positivity in the chat. You know how it is. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out for now, and I'll see you all in the next one.